5 minutes before I came here, I read a very interesting quote. Now, music lights up my life. It's a very strong sentence. It is also a very strong way to put it across. And today we have the man who will light up our lives with music. Arjun, welcome to the show, and Sanjay, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to obviously
Appreciate.
start off with you, Arjun, and that is uh, mm, music is known to be a mood changer, right? So,
Yeah,
how do you
yeah.
use your music to change mood?
To change my mood,
No, to
or
change the
just
mood
generally?
of people generally. Yeah.
Uh, well, honestly, I haven't really experimented too much with that in real life. I have read up on how some frequencies affect certain aspects of our emotions and our health and so many other things, but I've never really tried that in the flesh. The only thing I've done is when I perform, though, I feel like because of the energy that I get out of performing the music that I'm playing, and when I let myself free with it on stage and I just perform with, I go with the flow and everything, it relates to the audience and it feeds back and they feed back off that energy, and then it's just a give and take, and so that I feel I've done theater as well, and when it's a different kind of give and take, but because there is drama in a play, when you're doing a play there's a lot of drama that's happening, so because of the moods that we're trying to set, the
Right.
best times that as an audience member when I've watched a show as well is when the music sets in, when you're looking at something and you're seeing something happen there and you're like, wow, this is amazing and whatever, and when the music kicks in, it builds an emotion inside you, and that we have all experienced, so there's no denying that. But in terms of the healing aspects and the other, how to control emotions and stuff like that, there's basics that we understand in music, like we know, for example, major scales are happy, generally happy scales. Minor scales are usually considered as either romantic or sad or something like that, So these things we understand in music, and we try and use that to build emotions when we're writing a song.
Can I button a bit, Denzel?
Certainly.
So just to talk a little about Arjun, you may not have seen him perform. I have seen him perform like real life, like up
Okay.
close.
Wow.
And this guy can go crazy, okay? And he creates, he composes, he's like into the bloody music. He is there. I mean,
Thank you, Sanjay.
you have to see it to believe it, right? He is so much into music and so much of therapy. And when you listen to his music, it is not only sound wave that which is creates, it's also the therapy that the healing sound wave healing that you get. It is so amazing. Oh my God. I mean, he's a star in his own terms. Trust me on
That's sweet,
this.
man. Thank you, Sanjay. Sweet of you to say.
Yeah, but
Okay, but
I've been
Appreciate
there.
it.
but Sanjay, do you, Arjun, do you actually do this, like as when you're talking about therapy, and therapeutic is different things to different people. Like a certain song might evoke very strong emotions in us in different forms, right? And it
with
might mean
with
different things to you
songs,
and different things to me,
yeah. With
right?
songs, I feel. I mean, with songs, I feel it usually triggers memories, because when you listen to a song, there's usually a memory that it triggers. For me, at least, I feel like more than if you actually, there are very few bands that I have actually followed. Like, if you've heard of a band called Dream Theater, which is it's a progressive. They say metal. I don't like using the term metal because you invariably start thinking about that growling vocals and all. This is very melodic, but it is heavy. So in terms of their rhythms and stuff like that, it's pretty heavy. But they're very melodic and they're technical. So they go into these odd time signatures. But they write story albums. So basically, the first song to the last song of the album tells you a story, and it's
Right.
in many like if you listen to it, you won't know where the song ends and the next song starts, because it's continuous in many ways. And if they want to stop, that's when they stop. So it's not like they'll stop at the end of a song. The
Okay.
first song leads to the next song without stopping and stuff like that. So when I listen to some of their albums and I lie down and I just close my eyes and I follow the lyrics and go into the story, then yeah, there's a lot of emotion that it builds up, and there's so much, because they really really understand their music very well. They're very technical musicians, and they've used it in terms of what scales trigger what emotions, and when you're listening to the lyrics, you're already in that kind of in that zone anyway. So the music just builds it, and it's kind of like, I'm not sure about the chemistry inside the body, but it kind of triggers this emotion which comes out along with the story that you're listening to.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I love doing that when I'm, but it doesn't happen with every song. I mean, when I usually listen to most songs that I usually listen to, it triggers memories because of another time that I've listened to this song or something like that. You know what I mean?
But tell us something about this whole quest of yours, and of music and therapy. How does that work for you, and what would you like to do with it in the future?
Well, as far as what I would like to do with it in the future, that's open. I mean, I don't have a plan as to where I want to go, because I just want to keep exploring and I want to figure, because there's so much of it that we don't understand. There's stuff that, if we ignore the conspiracies, but there's so much that at Nikola Tesla's time, I'm saying that's like way back in the day, they discovered this and they started doing experiments about it. And he himself did some experiments on himself, on I believe Mark Twain, because they were friends, and Mark Twain was
Yeah.
really sick, ill at one point, and he had created this machine which, using vibrations. And um, there's something about, so the human body itself has vibrations, and they've depicted what it, I believe, if you come below 58 megahertz, is, if you're vibrating below 58 megahertz, or any part of your body is vibrating below that, is when you start getting sick, and when you start, your immunity kind of goes down, right? So and I think the average is between 60 to 70 megahertz is the vibration of your organs and everything inside. And so when if you can use sound to kind of balance that out, is what Tesla discovered, that when you use sound to balance that out and increase or decrease the frequencies depending on which way it goes, you can kind of fix the problem. And his experiment, I mean, he apparently said that it did work. It worked for him, it worked for his some of his assistants as well. And Mark Twain was when it started off. But so there's a lot you can do with this. So but the thing is, there's different, I mean, when it comes to this, that's why I said there's not, I don't think in today's world, if anybody knows about this properly, they haven't like made it public yet, because there's a lot of information. I've read that 111 hertz has healing powers, and 436 is supposed to be the universal frequency. Classical music is based on where A, and it's all about the A note. Okay, the note that we're talking about when you're saying these
Right.
frequencies, it's the note A in Western music. So that in classical music is 440 hertz, which is what we follow. All music that you listen to is based on the A note at 440 hertz. So again, there's like, when I looked deeper into that, all I could find was conspiracy. I never found an article that I could read up about or something, but there were a lot of YouTube videos about why the classical music people started with 440 because of some conspiracy and whatever. I mean, like, I'm trying to avoid as much conspiracy as I can, because
As
that's
possible.
where
Yeah.
that's where things get out of control, right?
Up
Yeah,
from
so
there.
I have a question, Arjun, for you.
Mm.
I have a question. I don't know if you have chanted the universal sound of Om, and how do you relate with the sound of
Universal sound of
Om, which is Om, Om.
Oh.
Om,
Like it's
Om.
got
Oh
four
yeah, yeah,
syllables. So,
yeah.
I don't know if you've done that or not done that. How do you relate that frequency that Om has? And by the way, just a little bit of information here. The Om chanting can be done in different frequencies, by the way, right? It
No,
could be
that's what I'm
done on,
saying. Anything
it
you say, any sound you make is a vibration at a certain frequency, right? So I believe that the power of Om that we're talking about in terms of layman conversation, when in
spirituality.
everyday world, when we say chant Om, in fact, even like my family, like my mother was very spiritual, and is very spiritual even now. And she used to do pray a lot, and she used to chant the Om thing a lot, and she used to talk about how that is healing. But I feel like the experts, the monks or whatever that actually do this, it's not about the word Om. It's rather than chanting the word Om, it's about the frequency at which you chant that word. And maybe because you say Om, when you hit it at that frequency, there's that rise and bend that happens in your when you say om, you know what I'm saying. So there is that thing. So maybe that is why it helps, because the resonance of that frequency when you say om, rather than if I just say ah at at the same frequency, it resonates very differently, right? So when you say om, there's a, it's like a circular, like it rounds it up. So I feel like the power comes not from exactly that word. You can, rather than saying om, I could even say home, or I could say nom, or you know, like maybe it's, you could say multiple things that have the same resonance, but it has to be about the frequency at which you chant that, which has the power. So rather than, like, if I say om, or if I say om, om, it's all different frequencies. So I don't think just by saying om at different frequencies or at
It
any
doesn't work
frequency.
on all the frequencies, is what you're saying.
I'm
It's a
saying, yeah, I assume that's not how it works, because
No,
if that was the
no, but
case, then we'd all
on the
be
contrary, Arjun, the Om, it depends on what kind of frequency that you want to use. So let me give you so there's something called solfeggio frequency, which got six parts. I've just noted it
okay.
down. 396 hertz is liberation from negative feelings. 417 hertz, transformation and fixing broken situations. 528 miracle and love frequency, which is the most important frequency, is 528. Then 39 is interpersonal relationship. Then 741, and the last one is 852, which frequency, if you can resonate with, will also resonate with your spiritual enlightenment. So Om can be chanted in all these frequencies, but most importantly,
Okay.
it is chanted on the frequency of 528 hertz, because that is the universal love frequency, and it also resonates with the surrounding nature, right? So it is not that you only chant with only one frequency, and different people
So
chant Om with
different
different ways,
frequencies for
right?
different parts of, different frequencies that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that touch on different parts of your emotion or your health or your different. That's what I said. So there are many frequencies that people have said are for certain things, and I've, so far I've only, this is information that I've only heard of or read about, but it's not something that I've experimented with myself. I want to experiment with the 432 especially, because if we play music at that frequency, I want to see what the difference is. And so when the COVID thing opens up, if we are still doing these things, then
right.
I'd love to come back and tell you that, hey, I've tried it out, and
This
guess
is
what,
what
this happened.
happens.
But yeah, but it's really interesting, because I mean, I understand that I can really relate to how everything at the end, at its core, I don't believe in, I'm not very religious at all. I don't believe in gods that we talk about these days, you know, in terms of all the religious gods, or even as Christianity says, the one God. But I feel like it's all about vibrations, and it's all about frequencies of vibrations that we resonate at, and everything relates to our emotions, to the thoughts that we have, and everything is all about those things. And I really, really feel like it's deeper than we understand. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
okay, okay, tell us in terms of your music and just what you do right now, not what you're going to do with 432 in the distant, in the near distant future, but what you do with
Yeah.
music right now. How do is how do you make that appealing to somebody? Do you do that intentionally, or is it just that you play music and you watch the reaction?
I'm glad you asked me that, because I've actually done it both ways. I have tried to write music in terms of how it will be received, and to be honest, I failed miserably. When I've done it that way, I failed miserably, because, like I said, again, when it comes to things like sound, it's about what a certain frequency makes a certain person feel. So there are certain combinations we understand that work a certain way, which is why I said, when you make a minor scale, it's not like if I play a note, I can make you feel a certain feeling just by playing that one note. But if I repeat that note, then there's, so music is about repetition, right?
Yeah,
And
and it's
so
also
the way
subliminal,
you
so
do that,
it's something that affects you at a secondary level as well.
yeah, and in many
Yeah,
levels, I mean, there's
yeah.
so many things. There's rhythm and there's melody, which adds up to what you feel. And I feel like, if the best way for me to write music is when I write something and I feel like it's complete for me when I feel honestly that it's complete, and I'm not thinking about whether someone else will like it or whether somebody else. I've actually written a couple of songs. I mean, as cheesy as this sounds, I've only done it 3 times, but I've written songs for other people, like, oh, this song is for you, and like, whatever. But even at that time, I have not, when I'm writing it, I'm not really thinking about how she's going to receive it or anything like that. It's just about how it makes me feel, and it comes naturally from the heart, and that's, I feel like those are my winner songs. And I don't think that the ones that I used to, back in the day, I used to actually try and think about using the theory of music and saying, oh, this kind of stuff works, that kind of stuff doesn't work. So, in terms of not just using notes, but even using your tones of your guitar and what kind of, how to, whether we use distortions, whether we use clean tones and choruses, and these things. So there's a lot of stuff that makes a certain kind of music sound like it does. And even if you look at like multiple genres, we firstly have multiple genres of music which have different feelings and different emotions, which bring up different emotions in different people. And within the genres itself, we have different kinds of songs that have different, that bring out different emotions and things like that. So I have never really tried to, even when I write a story in my song, I like writing stories because I mean, I'm a storyteller. So even when I write concept albums and stories, I've never really thought about it theoretically and said, oh, this is a sad part, I should make a minor melody here, or oh,
Okay.
this is a happy part, I should go into the major. I've just played, and if it makes me feel the emotion that the character is supposed to feel in my story, and then I'm there, so it works. And then I write my lyrics accordingly. So yeah, it fits, and it works sometimes, but until you listen to it and you feel what I mean. Again, it's not that other the same people have I mean, different people have felt the same thing that I felt, or they feel, or other people feel the same when they hear the song. Everybody feels a different emotion when they listen to the song, but um, at a crux, there are moments where you're supposed to feel scared, and you will, because I've used diminished chords and stuff like that, which trigger certain emotions in your body when you
Right.
listen to a
Yeah.
keyboard, and that, which horror
All the
movies
world
use and stuff
frequencies.
like that. So yeah, so those things I use. I mean, that comes naturally, and then when you do the study and you realize, oh, what chord did I use there? Oh yeah, it is a diminished chord. So again, I've never written it with that intention, but when I play
But
the chord and it
it
sounds good,
happens naturally.
it happens naturally. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean,
Do you
does
like
that answer
making
your
happy
question?
music, or do you like making sad music, or do you like making just music?
Uh, well, see, honestly, when I really honestly write music, it is there. It is dark. I don't know if it's sad per se, but it
Okay.
is dark. Because I like those notes. I like the combinations of those sounds. It's just with my influences and everything. And I've never studied music. I've learned by myself. I've learned with, like, a few friends taught me in school, and then I took it up further. And then when YouTube happened, that became my thing. And but my the main way I learned is by influences. I heard a song, I tried to cover it, and then that became how I taught myself. So I really like listening to those songs, like even Guns N' Roses, Nirvana. When you go into the popular, like, I grew up to these bands, right? And they all have these, the most popular songs have these really cool sad melodies and sad
Okay,
dark melodies and stuff.
What is your latest composition, and can you sing for us?
Okay, so this is called Lose the Noose. Give a little something, don't take it all away with you. It's a bigger story that we're playing, and so the rule is to play it through. Give a little something, don't let the weight bring you down. When you play it to the end, it's only when you get to move into the next round. So don't be sorry, I'm not talking about to others, cause if you decide to go, when you come back it hurts more. No, don't ignore me, you think you might know the answers, but if you decide to stay, a wise man walks away. sparkle is something, cause what good is an empty pot? But if you don't fill it with mother pretty flower willows and it would rot. So don't be sorry, I'm not talking about the others. Cause if you decide to go, when you come back it hurts more. No, don't ignore me. You think you might know the answers, but if you decide to stay, a wise man walks away. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 da-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 da-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, bum. So don't be sorry, I'm not talking about the others. Cause if you decide to go, when you come back it hurts more. No, don't ignore me. You think you might know the answers, but if you decide to stay, a wise man walks away.
So this was
What
on
this is?
what, Hajj?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, this right now is not tuned to even the standard guitar tuning. So
Hmm.
we're definitely off the hertz chart. But I'm talking about with relation to music. So music, like I said, is repetition, right? So with relation to the notes that you heard,
Right.
even if I change my guitar tuning to a different frequency,
Yeah.
when you listen to a certain song, that element should still remain the same. I mean, you should still
Yeah.
feel sad with the sad song and happy with the happy song
Right.
because of the combination of notes that you're playing. So, I mean, this was, I felt a little, because it's about suicide, I was kind of going with a little melancholy and stuff like that. And it's the same three guitar chords that I play for the entire song, all the parts, whether it's the chorus, the bridge, the verse. It's the same chord progression. It's just the rhythm is a little different, and the melody, the vocal melody, is a little different. So,
Denzel Arjun has a very, very nice composition on political satire. If he can give us. Arjun, the same
yeah,
one.
this
It's
has
like
nothing
really
to do with
creative
musical
and
frequencies,
really
though.
nice it is.
This is
Do
just
that, do that.
this has
Do
nothing
that
to
for
do
us,
with musical
please.
frequencies. This song is of my nation. Our leaders really suck. They have no shame, they're all the same, and they don't give effective ways to progress. They murder and they rob, then make up all their crazy rules. Judges give them blow jobs of people taken. We run around in circles. Our government is weak because they haven't had a testicle. All your senses, all of you have a role. Together we will stand and we'll stick it in there. But hold on, don't get excited. Let's think before we talk. The people we call leaders, they all think through their Caucasian friends who pull strings and play these puppets whole. And so the MP comes back home and acts like an asshole. He wasn't taxes, the people bear the brunt. Then a government employee comes and acts like a countries of our planet. The leaders are all sick. The president of America just has a big addiction towards killing. So wouldn't he grow with bliss until it's so big he can't even take a bloody pistol to his workplace because they may kill you. One day we may be safe in an all safer queue.
But lovely, Arjun. And what are your final thoughts on music and the happiness that it brings to people?
Well, I think it's something that's ancient. It's not something new. It's not something that's been invented recently. There are many different styles that come out, and I feel like it's something that we are still exploring. This it's when we've not discovered everything. Just as electronic music came out recently, and that's become a new thing. And there's all kinds of stuff. People are still going back to old ways where you play music out of using real sounds and things like that. And so it's really it's amazing. There's so much you can do out of it because what is music? It's about finding the right vibrations and using the right combinations to make a certain melody or a certain rhythm. and you can make music out of rubber bands, you can make music out of anything. So it's amazing. It's something that, as a non-musician, when you find music in things, that's really, it's amazing. For me, when I was a child, I'm saying, before I learned to play an instrument or something, I used to find music in so many things: water droplets, and in the train, when the train goes on the tracks and you
The
hear
rhythm,
the
yeah.
rhythm of how it goes. It's amazing. There's so many things that music can relate to, and there's so many ways to use music in film production and in stuff like that, just to bring out so much. I mean, this, it's
That's so
magical.
true.
It's just
Yeah.
humbling.
So we'll wrap it up on this. Thank you so much. And
Thanks, Denzel. Thanks for having me.
we hope to have you on another weekend where you have finally discovered the thing that the world is waiting for, that all frequencies have some spiritual connect. But thank you so much for joining us, and yes,
Thank you
certainly
for
we
having
look
me.
forward to it,
Pleasure.
and all the very best, and hope you rock, all in inverted
Thanks,
commas,
man.
for the
Thank you
rest
so
of the
much.
Thank
day.
Thank you,
you.
Sanjay.
Thank you, Dan.